Have you ever come across a story that's just so massive it feels more like a legend? You know, a story about a city literally born from the ashes of a cosmic war, and a leader who was somehow both a savior and a tyrant? Well, today we're diving deep into the epic saga of Lunar Lakes and its absolutely unforgettable, tragic hero.
This one question, right here, this is what it all boils down to. How does someone start with the purest intentions and end up with absolute world-shattering power? We're about to find out. So, we're going to trace the incredible rise, the devastating fall, and the echo of a leader that lasted for centuries. This isn't just some old history lesson. It's a look at power, ambition, and the ghosts they always leave behind.
Okay, but before we can even talk about the man, we have to talk about the city. And to really get the city, you have to rewind thousands of years, back to a war that almost tore reality apart.
The timeline here is just immense. It all starts over 20,000 years ago, when this tear in reality lets loose billions of evil spirits. To save the world, the Nylon leader Elphanel sacrifices himself to seal the breach, creating something called the Sahara Eye. In the aftermath, his commander, Finglor, founds a settlement at a nearby oasis, not to conquer anything, but to just stand guard over that seal forever.
And for generations, this little settlement grew into the city of Lunar Lakes. It was this peaceful, almost mythical place tucked away in the desert, known for being beautiful and just kind of quietly trading with the outside world. It was a true sanctuary, a promise of peace that they kept for thousands of years.
But yeah, all that peace, it was about to get completely shattered. One man was about to show up and change not just the city, but the destiny of the entire world.
And that man's name was Van Rund. Now, this guy wasn't just anybody. He was a former prince, one of the founders of the most powerful empire on the planet. But he got disillusioned with it all, thought their peace was a sham. So he became a wanderer, soaking up all kinds of knowledge, from the sacred to the totally forbidden dark arts.
So how did he take over? It wasn't a military coup. First, he just taught the people. He inspired them. He helped them build up their city and unify them with this new vision. They loved him for it. They made him their supreme leader, a messiah. But then, his final step was just the ultimate betrayal. He went to that ancient seal his city was built to protect, and he broke it open, seizing control of the very darkness they'd been guarding against for millennia.
And the transformation was just staggering. It was night and day. Lunar Lakes went from this quiet, sleepy, one-species city to a massive, militarized, multiracial metropolis. It became the capital of a new shadow empire, all built around Von Ruin's vision of forcing unity on the entire world.
So now, with the power of a whole dark dimension at his beck and call, Van Ruin's dream of a united world started to look a lot less like peace and a whole lot more like conquest.
He totally reshaped the city. A massive 900-meter tall tower shot up to be his HQ. A third of the entire city became a military base. He even built a 13-level underground city for demons and vampires. But here's the crazy part. In doing all this, he also created the world's first truly multiracial civilization, bringing together species that have been enemies for ages, all under his absolute command.
You just knew this new radical order was gonna lead to a fight, and it did. His own brother, Alexander, who was the leader of the Thrones Empire, stood against him. The war between these two brothers and their ideologies was so insane, it ended with a battle that literally sank an entire continent under the ocean.
So in that final battle, Van Rund is struck down and killed by his brother. But his death wasn't the end, not even close. Instead, it turned his influence into something immortal, an undying will that was going to haunt the world for centuries.
So how can a dead guy still command an empire? Well, this is where the story gets really wild. It's all about a legacy that just refused to die, powered by some serious loyalty and dark magic.
The key to it all, these things called the Arva. They were his 7 most loyal human kings and his adopted son. When they died, their souls got trapped between worlds, turning them into these immortal, faceless wraiths. And they weren't just ghosts with free will. Think of them more like extensions of Van Ruin's own ambition, tools to carry out his master plan from beyond the grave.
And for the next few hundred years, that's exactly what they did. From this shadowy place called the Valley of Gloom, they commanded the armies of Lunar Lakes. They waged this secret global war with one single, terrifying goal:
get enough power to bring Van Rund back to life.
And their plan was meticulous, spanning centuries. They had to steal his hidden body, build a new Tower of Babel to literally harvest dark energy from enslaved souls, and fight wars all over the world. All of it building to one final ritual at the Sahara Eye to resurrect their fallen king.
A shadow war that lasts for centuries can't stay in the shadows forever. Eventually, it all exploded into 2 world wars, and one final, apocalyptic battle that would decide the fate of Van Rund's legacy and the world itself once and for all.
So at the very climax, his return is just moments away, and then the most unexpected thing happens. Van Rund's own spirit, seeing how his followers had twisted his dream and were basically working for this demonic being called the Cedric, rejected his own resurrection. From beyond the grave, he struck down his own lieutenant, choosing to stay dead rather than see his vision become so corrupt.
And without its God King, the empire didn't just fall apart, it transformed. Absolute rule was replaced by an elected Senate. The goal of domination became cooperation. The massive army was disbanded, and they formed a mutual defense pact instead. Basically, the people finally built the united, peaceful world Van Rund had always talked about, but they could only do it after rejecting his method.
And the city of Lunar Lakes, it didn't just survive, it thrived. It's now the largest and most diverse multiracial city in the world, with a population of 40 million people. It became the ultimate symbol of the peaceful coexistence Van Rund had tried to force on everyone.
So, in the end, his real legacy wasn't the empire he built. It was the ideal of unity that started it all. That idea turned out to be so powerful that it survived its creator's own corruption. And it could only really happen after he was gone for good.
Which leaves us with a really tough question, right? His vision did come true, but only after centuries of war and terror and suffering. Can a dream that started in light, but was forged in total darkness, ever lead to a truly good end? Can you build a peaceful world on the bones of an empire? That's definitely something to think about.